want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy
Now you've got me
Tea.
thinking. Bloody
Cheap
hell.
metal.
It's expensive, but once you've
It's
got
expensive, yeah. And it started off as weight, spreading weight for a press.
Yeah.
So it was like
Right.
1/4-inch steel plate. So
Right.
it was all about spreading the weight of the feet of the press. Because they were
I get you.
on a wooden floor on the second floor.
Yeah, well, I am.
And then instead of just having 3 pieces, they just went, fuck it, just line the
Just do it
floor.
all floor.
And it cleans like that. It doesn't have to be painted.
Is it slippy?
No.
I might look into that, because you know what? Once you've got it, you've got it. You take it where you want.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not
Expensive.
wasting money,
Metal's
is it?
expensive now.
It's getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Right, let's go.
Oh, God, we're back.
Right, we're back. Let's go. So, what just beeped?
I
Something
can hear
else?
out. I think it might be at yours.
Oh, it must have been at mine. So, welcome to episode. What episode is it, Danny?
35.
See,
Not
I always
36.
forget. Danny never forgets, and I always forget. So episode 35 of Chippy Tea Podcast. What is the Chippy Tea Podcast? It's your chance, your opportunity to eavesdrop on a video call between me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
Danny D from the Flipping Sweet Print Co.
there you go. Look, you see how relaxed you are now. So
I'm in the floor.
it is your chance to eavesdrop on this catch-up call that we have every week, almost every week.
Come on, this is the first we've missed, so...
Yeah, this is the first one we've got. Yeah, we didn't have one in the bag, so we're being excused. It's a chance to catch up on the old episodes that you haven't listened to yet. That's what we've done it for. But it's your opportunity to eavesdrop in a video call between me and Danny, just having a bit of a chinwag, a bit of a discussion about what we did this week, what went wrong, what went right, what's really stood out. Is there any new inventions we've seen? Is there anything that we've seen that we don't think is any good? And basically, you can join us as we chit-chat and prattle along through this week's shenanigans. So, it's been about 10 days, actually, so it
feels like a while, doesn't it?
It must mean that we've got shitloads to talk about. So I'm going to throw it straight over to you, Danny, because you still get that fearful look in your eye. Even every time it's like that guy just go cold. In that, right, I had this all prepared, but now Tony's thrown it over to me, I don't know. So, straight over to you, Danny. What has really piqued your interest this week?
Well, let me tell you, I might have discovered something very useful for screen printers, t-shirt screen printers. What if I was to tell you I can eliminate the use of glue adhesive for your screen print palettes? What if I was to tell you that?
No, this is a claim that's been made many, many times before.
Well,
we've been through everything from the automatic spray to the magic tape that holds carpets down to the Spider-Man jizz that comes out of a can or out of a canister. So, come on, then. What have you found?
So, how can I describe this best? The first thing I thought of when I saw this, so you might even have one in your car. So, in your car on your dashboard, you can get little gel pads to put your phone on, and when you're driving about, it don't drop off. Have you seen those?
I've seen them. Yeah.
The best way I can
jelly
describe
pad
it
or
is
jelly stick,
like
jelly
a gel
bean.
Yeah, so you can get them in so. Anyway, I think this is what it is. Which to me, can you see that?
Print
it's a big sheet. It's a big gel pad, same size as your print palette.
Okay.
So what you do with this, you adhere this to your palette. So if you can see it in background, I've actually done one. I'm in process of filming this, so I can show it in more detail. But you apply your big gel pad to your palette. You tape off the top and the back so the garments don't get stuck on corners. No spray, no water-based glue. no glue whatsoever. It is a tacky gel surface, and it is
Okay.
really tacky. Now, the comparison you'll probably go to is the PMI
Double-sided
double-sided
tape.
tape.
Yeah.
It's better. IMO, in my opinion, don't know why I did it quotation marks, but in my opinion, it's better. I always found with a double-sided tape, it was too strong. You really, until you've like built up a bit of lint, a bit of
Yeah.
cotton on top of your surface, you were stretching crap out of garments.
Yeah.
And it
And
just
then it
deformed the
died quickly.
print. And then it died super quickly. And then you had to wash it
Wash
off
it with
with,
water.
you had to scrub it down.
Yeah.
You get crap absolutely everywhere. But it would also then, after reactivating it, it'd be too strong again. So I didn't really get on with that stuff. This gel pad, first of all, it's not glue. It's not a double-sided glue sheet. It's just the
Okay.
material. It's just tacky. It's just naturally tacky. It's like a gel, but it's naturally tacky.
Okay.
I've got a piece on it. It's fantastic. So I've put some shirts on. I've run it on and off. It lifts off. So it adheres and it stays in place really well. But when you peel that shirt off, you don't stretch it. You're not like ripping it off. It comes off
Okay.
really quite clean, quite
So
easy.
I've got to ask you about lint.
So much like water-based adhesive, much like the double-sided tape, you do the exact same process. Get your water bottle, spray it down, a quick sponge off.
Refresh. So you're refreshing it.
You refresh it, and then you use a little towel that is supplied with the kit.
So that'd be like a microfiber towel that no fluff comes
Microfiber
off.
towel. Get all the moisture off. Crack on. It's right good. So there is
it's
a
right
test.
good. It's right good for you.
Yeah.
You're a manual printer.
I'm struggling to see why it wouldn't be good for an auto.
So an auto will do on average 600 to 800 pieces an hour.
Yeah.
So water-based glue, I can probably get about 400 prints out before I have to reapply the water-based glue.
Do you
And I'll
reckon?
apply it on top. Yeah, if it doesn't last that long, so that's probably about half an hour. Every half an hour applying the glue, which obviously is a time eater because I have to. First of all, we thought we had to run the shirts off, apply the glue, flash the glue, and then reapply the shirts, which was absolutely crazy. But we have worked out a way now of keeping the pallets warm and applying the glue on the fly. So the heat of the pallets warms the glue and dries it immediately.
Dries pretty much straight away. Yeah.
So the double-sided tape again lasts between 200 and 400, depending on what you're printing on. We're talking t-shirts here.
Yeah.
The refreshing process of that, the water scrubbing, is a time eater. It eats time. Bear in mind,
so I guess what you're saying is,
bear in mind, if 10 minutes pass where I'm not printing, I could have lost 200 shirts. If each shirt generates me £1, it's cost me 200 quid to actually clean the pallets. Now, if you might think £1's bad enough, all right, well, let's go 50p. It still cost me 100 quid to wash the boards.
But with water-based pallet adhesive, you're not doing that anyway.
No, you're applying on top of.
You're putting glue on top, right?
So we apply on top of rather than cleaning.
Well, I would be
and the
interested
act of the scrubbing flattens down the layer of lint.
Right.
So instead of removing the lint, we're building and building and building. Obviously, when it gets to the point of about 3,000 or 4,000, or when the pallets get thick enough, that's when we replace the paper, put new paper on, put the glue on again.
Right. So potentially, it might not be suitable for really high production.
Are they your chips I've just pissed on?
You're a dick. I'm going to say no, because I would recommend it be tested.
Yeah.
Because I agree what you're saying. I understand what your logic is and what would be your concerns. And I have concerns about it because I haven't tested it in real life yet. I've had a little play with it. I've only applied it today. The test will be the test of time. In 6 months' time, are them sheets, how does it hold up? So I've got 6 sheets, and I think there's a couple of different strengths. So I'm going to apply it to the entire press. I'm going to run it exactly like normal, and then ask me in a few months, and I'll tell you a real honest answer.
Good.
But everything I've seen is very optimistic. I'm very impressed, and I think if you're in an environment where that action costs you 200 quid, all right, then fair enough. But I would say that is that much at industry potentially.
I don't know. I'm not going to poo-poo it straight away. It's all
No.
about that reapplication time.
Yeah.
It's all about how often do I need to reapplicate. So if it's a gel that's not super sticky, fantastic. We all suffer from those first 10 shirts that are sticky, where a circle turns into a rugby ball. So we all suffer from that. So if it eliminates that, fantastic. If it eliminates the use of chemicals, fantastic.
Tick. No glue, no spray, no mess.
Which is superb. We love that. I hate glues in a can now, but it's the best solution to hold the shirt on.
Yeah, 100%. The water-based adhesives are all very well and good for the dolphins. But I always, as much as I try to use water-based adhesives, I can't help but grab a can. I can't help but just grab it. So if this takes that away from me and I have a super clean shop, my God, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of it. It's all about longevity now. So longevity for a manual printer. Let's say you do 1,000 prints in a really good week.
Yeah.
That could be a morning on one press.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to look at.
There are claims. Now, let me see if I can find it on the website.
I've got to admit, though, I've never heard of it. So you found something I've never heard of. Never come across it. And where's it from?
So it's an American product. It's a fella in America called Chad. And from what
I know Chad.
Yeah, of course you do. And from what I understand, he's developed it. It's called Print Grip, and he has a website.
Hang on. It's going to be called Chippy Tea Grip. Just slow down a little bit. Well,
that's the American one.
The English version is going to be Chippy Tea Grip.
I reckon he's going to have a few suppliers knocking on his door when they see it.
Danny Grip.
Danny Grip. So the claim is...
Although that's not your name on here.
No, I don't read that. The claim is months of use. Imagine how much time you can save. Average lifespan is 4 to 6 months. So now that you see, here's the thing. It's a claim. It's a bold claim, and I have no reason to doubt what they are putting here. But that has surely got to be completely shop dependent, because the lifespan is impressions, really. If I print 1 million impressions,
I found him. Yeah,
you found it.
Yeah.
By the way, I should say this is not sponsored. This is not. I'm not being paid to say this.
Yeah.
I found it. I got in touch with the fellow and said, "This looks really cool. Can I please try it?" And he was very kind to send me some. And I promised in return that I would give honest feedback and an honest review of it. And that's what I'll do. If I think it's shit, I'll tell you. But so far, I'm really, really impressed. Honestly, really impressed. So I'm just being honest about it. But it's got potential.
It has,
and like you say, potential maybe in some shops, maybe not ideal for other shops. But I'm putting it out there. Give it a go if it tickles your fancy.
So did you buy the medium tack or the high tack?
I didn't buy any tack. I think I've got all of them. I think I've got all of them to try. Yeah. So all of it, I think I should have on my press one of each. I
like the idea of a black sheet as well.
Do you know what concern? The only thing that is a slight hiccup, it's not a problem. I can work around it. If you're putting a coloured sheet, I'm putting a coloured sheet over my markings, so I have like centre lines and stuff like that. But it's not end of the world. I can just make a template or something.
I've got a tip for you for that.
Oh, go on, here we are.
It's almost like we planned it.
We're back, Tony lad. We're back, full swing.
So I'll send you the video, okay? But I'll try and describe it. See if it just a light bulb comes on with you. Bear in mind, I've been in this industry a long time, and I've never seen this trick done.
I'm going to say, for you to see something new, must be quite impressive.
Completely new. So I want to send you it and see your reaction. We
Come
are
on then.
talking. I'm going to send it you and see if you can see the reaction of it.
I picked this up then, looking at it. Why has it not come on? What? I've lost it.
That's only on 3G. You need to be on 5G.
I don't know what I've done with my phone, Tony, lad.
You put it on silent. Remember that much.
Yeah. But fucking where have I done it? What the hell? Let's see here.
I say I'd ring it, but you put it on silent, so there's no point.
So I found it. I found it.
So I'm going to send you as soon as I find it. It'll take me a while, but this would solve that problem. I believe it's this. If it's not this, I've just sent you something completely random. No. So you open that and have a look and see if I need to explain that to you.
There better be no speedos in this picture, I tell you. After last time.
No, I took them off. So this is what I mean by helicopter. You dare open it now, dare you?
It's not come through, luckily.
Insta.
Oh, I'm on Insta. I'm waiting on bleeding WhatsApp. Oops, I've just opened Sarah's messages. About 78 voice messages. I'll get back to you, Sarah. Bear with me. It's not come through, you know.
Oh, come on, what's going on here?
Oh, there we go.
So, have you got it?
Got it. Right. So you ready?
Let's turn the volume down, I might swear on it.
String.
Does it need explaining?
Actually, so, from what I can see, is there like a little notch in the top and bottom centre of a pallet? And there's like a piece of string that just sits in it. You just pull tight and it sits in the notch.
Yeah, so it's actually a little screw. And you take the string off and put it on it's on magnets.
Oh, magnets. So magnets either end at string.
Yeah.
Wow. And that gets your centre line.
Because they don't clean their screens. Because they're all repeat jobs.
Yeah.
So print, put it on one side, 2 days later the job comes back in, print. So to find the centre line on a dirty screen where they can't see through the crosses, they use a piece of string on the pallet.
And then you can feel it.
Then they can feel where the centre line is.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
It's a physical thing that you're feeling for. And you can stretch down and move the screen until you hit the cross, because you can still see the cross.
Yeah.
You can't see through it.
That's interesting. It might be quite a good little thing to consider.
Like yeah, because you're looking for something that instead of something you can feel to find your centre line, you're looking for something something you can see. You're looking for something you can feel.
Yeah, you just press on it and feel it.
And you can feel the ridge of the cord of the string.
Yeah. Wow, cool little tip. Like it.
I think
Maybe
so.
if you are listening, you might want to consider that.
Yeah.
As you know, I've got something top secret in development, which I think might be better still. But that is a work in progress.
Top secret.
Yeah, it involves several acrylic sheets and some walls. I've got Anatole building me some honeycomb pallets, metal honeycomb pallets, and I'm thinking of getting a 7th with pre-drilled holes. So I would chuck that on when registering.
Yeah. And
then the acrylic sheets would be more of a probably putting film on. Which I can't get rid of. The only downfall in my master plan is it's always going to be down to me being accurate with a film sheet until I get CTS. But for the time being,
so I had this discussion with a printer who's just thinking about starting out buying an auto and wants to know which auto to buy. And this is the point I was saying. It's like an extra 45, 50 grand for CTS. And how do you justify that if the press that you're buying is a starter range press at around about 50 grand?
Yeah.
How can you possibly justify spending more on a positioning device than you do on your actual thing that pushes ink through the holes and makes you money?
Well,
the only way I could describe it was I have a shop in Texas where the guy positioning the crosses on the FPU unit takes an extra 4 to 5 minutes on every screen.
Yeah.
He has a little magnifying glass, a little loop, and he gets it absolutely perfect. And that has paid dividends when it gets to press, because when it gets to press, it's exceptionally close.
Right.
So it's all about where do you want to spend the money. You either spend the money in time in pre-press or equipment in pre-press. So if you spend the money on equipment, you can make a screen in around about 60 seconds. If you spend the money on time, that goes to 5 minutes. Just positioning the screen and getting a loop out and moving it, and loop out and moving it.
Yeah. But then again, it's also relative to the screens, because not all screens are the same size. So you can position a film on a screen smack bang in the centre, but the frames are never ideal. Getting around that is something I'm trying to work my head on.
So I'm working with the pin system. So the screens have pins on them.
Yeah, so that resolves that problem.
So we take away the frame as a variable.
Yeah. Well, this is why I'm still considering drilling holes in that fucker. Not really drilling holes. I'm going to stick another piece of
all
metal
technical on us.
You know what I mean? I'm bringing the technical stuff to the podcast. But anyway, that actually does lead on very well to something that is on my list. I've not actually got my list in front of me yet, but I'll do it off at cuff. I'll try and remember it. I wanted to make a bold statement, and I wanted to.
Anybody listening outside of Yorkshire, that's impromptu.
Bold statement. So, you know what? I'm going to bring it up because I don't want to get this wrong. What was I going to? So how was I going to word this? So, I think a well-organized, automated pre-press shop with a manual carousel could potentially be more productive / efficient than a poorly organized auto shop.
Brave.
So that's a bold statement.
That's a brave statement.
So it's a brave statement, but it's kind of a question, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I guess it boils down to everybody automates the press first. Or they automate the pre-press and the press simultaneously because they've got shitloads of money. But if you've got a choice, I would guess 99 out of 100 times people will buy an auto press, and then the pre-press is like an afterthought. Well, it'd be nice to have a spider one day, but you know what I mean? What if somebody, this guy, decided to automate the screen room before getting an auto?
So automating the screen room.
I guess when I say that, I'm talking about preparing screens and registering.
Let's break it down. Okay, and we come back to my point that I make every time. And the point I make every time is the whole process. So when we talk about screen printing, whether it's manual or auto, the whole process was designed, invented, created to print lots and lots of the same thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't created to service the 22-year-old guy buying pictures of his mate's funny dog at midnight in his pants online. So we have to look at the process. Even your manual process, it's designed to reproduce lots of times the same thing.
Yeah.
So the pre-press, the getting stuff to that press, had no importance in the beginning. Now it has major importance. I've told you the story before. When I first started, 3,000 was the minimum order quantity.
Yeah.
We would not break down a press and put something on press for less than 3,000 pieces. It simply wasn't worth the dead time.
No.
And we've got better and better and better and better at it. And now we can get to the point where we can throw a 6-colour job on. We did an 8-colour job in 3 minutes, like 5 times at Long Beach.
God.
So to do that was not the investment in the press, but the investment in the pre-press.
Yeah.
So if your customer is a band that you've dropped on that's got really, really successful, and
Yeah.
they want 1,000 shirts a week from you. Oh,
Yeah.
I have a customer, one of your customers that uses weightlifting, one of your favourites that uses weightlifting.
Oh, yeah.
Silent but deadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they bought
Still
an
waiting for
automatic.
that bell.
They bought a manual press.
Yeah.
In the very beginning,
I remember this
their
story, yeah.
whole remit was we want to produce 500 shirts per week.
Yeah.
Each one of those shirts would be the same design, single colour, red print on a black shirt.
Yeah.
So there was 0 point in them automating any of their pre-press whatsoever. It was all
'cause we've got
about
one
getting them a
screen.
press that will do one screen. All right, we'll go for 2 screens. Base, flash, red.
Yeah.
So we'll do base, flash, red, and that's us. Finished, done. Don't need to automate anything. We set it up once, and we do 500 prints that week. And the next week, we do another 500 prints of the same design. And the next week, we do exactly the same. So the press is perfect for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. You might put 4 hours into setting it up. But once it's set up, you don't touch it. You don't waste any time. And you just produce, and it's all about then how fast you can pull a squeegee.
Yeah.
So when the industry saw that, hang on, the deciding factor here is how fast we can pull a squeegee. Well, let's stick a motor on that, make it go faster.
Yeah.
All right, now the issue is how fast can we turn it? All right, stick a motor on that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stick a motor on all of them so they can print all colours at the same time. All of a sudden, the birth of the automatic carousel happens. And the whole basis, the whole concept, the whole idea is move the squeegee as fast as possible. Once you've spent your 4 hours setting it up.
Yeah.
Then the whole industry changed. Now somebody wants 10 shirts of his mate's funny dog sat on the toilet.
Yeah.
And you've got to do all the pre-press, get it to the machine, set it, and then the actual printing side of it is such a small part. It's a small percentage of the time you've put into the job.
Here's the thing. Here's the way I look at it. My customer base, the vast majority of it, it's very rare that I get an order in the hundreds or over, a couple hundred. Very rare. Every now and again, maybe one a month is 100 plus. Now I do get a lot of multiple print placements, etc. And my whole business really relies on getting lots of smaller orders. So the time I spend physically printing is quite small. It doesn't take me long to print 50 t-shirts.
To pull a squeegee 50 times, no.
I get a lot of
10
multicolour
seconds.
stuff. Well, I guess this is the other side as well. I get smaller orders, but I get quite a bit of multicolour as well. So yeah, I do a fair bit of printing. But in the grand scheme of things, I spend very little time physically printing. I spend so much time washing bloody screens and registering and setting up, etc. So if I could automate that process and just get screens on and off that press all day, all week, I could make so much more money and get so much more done. And it's not necessarily that my hold up at the moment is pulling a squeegee. My hold up is everything before that. Now I want an auto. I don't know if I mentioned.
No, you never said, no.
But really, if I really put my head into gear and think where the hold ups are, the hold ups always come before the press. Because I'm quite fast. I'm quite fast and quite good at printing. It's always before. And rationally, I guess the big thing is pre-press equipment is really expensive. It's way more than
so your dilemma now. So there's 2 solutions to that problem.
Yeah.
And what's really good is you've identified the problem. A lot of people just don't see where that problem is. So number one, you've seen you've seen where your bottleneck, your time eater is.
Yeah.
You've seen the part of the process that eats the most time, and it's not on press; it's off press.
No. Yeah.
So therefore, you can buy a machine which will do every single part of that process off press. So I could get you a machine that will wash your squeegees, wash your screens, coat your screen, dry your screens, coat your screens, image your screens, develop your screens. So pretty much you don't have to do anything to them except move them from one magic box to another magic box. So start off in this magic box and it takes the image off. This magic box puts the emulsion on. This magic box puts the image on. This magic box
Yeah.
exposes them, this magic box develops them, and it comes
Yeah.
out at this end ready for you to use.
Yeah.
But the total cost of that's about £250,000.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's the issue. So now we've established that those are the processes that need to be done.
Mm.
For £250,000, I could employ someone on a really good wage for 10 years to do that.
Yeah.
So now it's not about the process. I can get you I'll have to change the word I normally use. I can get you a worker from any Eastern European country. I can get you a worker, and you can pay him 25 grand a year, and for 10 years you can pretty much finance him to do all the 5 things that I just said there.
Just
now
not
the
as well.
only downside is, how many can he do a day?
Yeah.
So we look at your shop and we go, right, okay, Danny, how many screens a day do you make? 10? Less than 10?
Maybe. Yeah, probably less than 10, to be honest. If I had to
So
think
10
about it.
screens a day, 250 grand. It ain't worth it. Almost paying somebody 25 grand a year to make you 10 screens a year is not worth it. So what's the next alternative? You have to do it.
I know.
So this is
the whole point. I'm just sick of doing it.
This is the whole point. I'm going full circle in that. Why are you doing all that work? Because to pay somebody to do that work, which doesn't gain you any money, you don't see the payback on it unless your press is so goddamn full of work that you can't rest.
Do you know what, though? That justifies getting an auto. When you get to that point, you're like, all right, well, now I can use an auto because I can keep the press spinning all day long. I might as well just get an auto. So that answers that question then. I'll try to be unique, won't I?
So we've settled it. You want an auto?
Yeah, back to wanting an auto.
So what you have to look at is, I looked at, remember I used this all the time. It was 100 pieces, took 15 minutes. And of that 15 minutes, 6 was printing, 9 was prepping. So it made sense for me to attack the 9 minutes rather than the 6.
Yeah.
Because the 6, I could work really, really hard and maybe reduce it to 5.5. The 9, I could just work really intelligently and maybe reduce it to 6.
Yeah.
So it's all about where is your time eater, your bottleneck, your place where you seem like it's eating time. And you've just said it's not the press.
No. I mean, it obviously takes a certain amount of time, but I seem to spend way more time away from it than I do stood at it. And let's be honest, the thing that makes me money is stood at that press.
So if I said to you, okay, 100 pieces, 6 colour, with a flash.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, if you had an auto, we would assign
an hour.
We'd be really generous and assign an hour to it. That's starting from scratch, taping the screens out, put them in the press, do the actual printing, take everything out and clean it. An hour. So 100 pieces in an hour. Whereas
job for me.
That would take a day.
And that's printing.
Yeah.
That's without the lead up of exposing screens, colour.
Nothing to do with that. There's a big pile of screens already made, ready for you.
I get up in the morning, chuck my screens. Well, even that. Let's even just assume the screens are already registered as well.
Set, yeah. So you've done all your setting on a weekend. You spent all weekend, Saturday morning, taking a good print, making sure it's okay, checking the colours, checking the reg. It's all ready to go when you walk in Monday morning.
Yep. And I get in and I go on. I'm going to be done by tea time, 5 o'clock. It's probably going to take me all day.
That's 600 pulls of a squeegee.
Yeah, probably an all day job. I might be exaggerating it slightly, but probably.
So if we could reduce that to an hour, would that give you more time to do your pre-press? So now your pre-press is not as important?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or would it give you more time to go sell some stuff so you can increase the throughput of work business?
Well, it has to be, but I think my immediate goal is going to have to be to get clever, get smart about how I automate or at least make things more efficient downstairs in that screen room pre-press area. I've got a few ideas that I can do on a limited budget. I ain't got $500,000 to spend on everything I want, but at least I can chip away at little bits, start small and build my way up. We've talked about having 2 dip tanks, that'll using individual chemicals, coming up with a clever little registration system that at least gets me very close and requires minimal micro
Input from
vegging.
you, yeah.
Yeah, getting
I'd
super close is better
I
than.
want to see how you do that, because until it gets to that press behind you, I'm 100% with you, and all of the logic
Yeah.
you're using works. It's
Yeah.
how you then transfer that perfectly made, every frame in the same position. It's how you transfer that to there without using a tri-lock pallet. That's the way I can't quite understand, because you've got side clamps or a back
Yeah,
clamp.
side clamps.
So you've got side clamps, which are so open and free.
Yeah,
I'm just struggling as to how that might
there's
work at the minute.
some modifying involved where I've got multiple ideas. One of them was to use a piece of a metal plate that sits in between the side clamps as a backrest. Maybe even
As a stop.
using bumpers, the MHM stops, so it sits in them bumpers. And you don't actually change the side clamps. You never really touch the side clamps. The side clamps are set and registered to your number one parent screen, shall we call it. You've got a parent screen which you register your press to that one screen in every head. You see where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
then when you bring so this also assumes that okay, you've got all your heads in identical positions, in using your pins. Then you've got to go back to your pre-registration jig where you put a new screen on, your films, place your films on, getting that to be identical to the, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, good work. Yeah, because you've got 3 points, haven't you? If you use a back bar and 2 side bars, then you've got a 3-point system.
Yeah. So you've not got front and back, but you've got something similar and probably not quite as good, but somewhat close to get you fairly close.
So we'll go back to time. So we've established that pulling the squeegee to print 100 6-colour job is going to take you all day.
Yep.
Now tell me how much time there is in prep in that. You walk into the screen room and you have to prepare for this 6-colour job. So you've got no screens ready.
Right.
So you've got to strip them and coat them and make them. How much time?
Strip them, coat them, make them. I honestly reckon I would take a day to get that job set up. So I would take one whole day stripping, coating, exposing the screens, mixing the inks, getting it on a press. If all goes smoothly, registering, that's one day, then printing's another day. So actually that sounds quite equal, but that's because it's a 6-colour. That would be, so that's 2 days to do 100 6-colour shirts.
So can you see
That's
now
an hour for somebody.
I know, yeah. Can you see now where investment would take that down to an hour?
Yeah. I mean, in that case, that's where an auto press would obviously reduce a day to an hour. So that's a huge improvement for a relatively small investment.
We take our guy from the continent that we trained to be a highly efficient swamp donkey, and the day that you're setting up, the day that you're printing, he is doing all the prep.
Yeah, true.
So now we've still done the same thing. We've reduced a 2-day job down to 1 day.
Yeah.
But you've got a wage to pay.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this set up. It was only a few months ago that I had this set up. I had a screen goblin person, and I was getting so much more done. It's only this past few months where I've fallen back to me doing everything, where I guess everything's just taking so much longer. But what I would definitely like to do is get my pre-press situation way more efficient before I employ anybody else to do it, and try and foolproof as much of it as I can.
Foolproof
So
or D-skill?
D skill then, I guess. Let's say D skill. D skill
So
because
number one purchase. First purchase, sorry.
well, I don't know what my first purchase is, but something that springs to mind, and I was chatting to Everpress in, is it Canada or US? He does a lot of horror. We've both chatted to him. He listens. Nice kid. He he has so the Vastex. So you know I've got the Vastex mount for coated screens. He has the semi-auto version. So you
Right.
hold it and then it goes, and you just use a foot pedal and the screen moves up and down.
Okay.
So
Ricardo, you know Ricardo from Ecosgraph?
yeah.
He mentioned that to me. Not in a good way.
Damn. So that particular
That particular exact one, the motorized version of moving the screen, he said that was not optimal, was the close to the words he was used. Hi, Ricardo.
me and Ricardo need a chat, man. Come on, let's have
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
Let's have a
So I
chat.
think-
Let's get some gear in this shop. I will
I
test
think
it
your
and I will
coat-
sing
yeah.
your praises.
Absolutely. I think the Coda is on your list as being number one. But
Yeah.
that's not a time saver.
No, well, there's
That's not going
here's
to
the
save you
argument.
any time whatsoever, other than if you spent more time just coating screens, as in building a library. But then you have to spend some money on screens to have a stock. So although it would cut out the variables and possibly make life a tad easier for you, as in you could have somebody else coat the screens.
I think that's the advantage. And Everpress said the exact same thing. It says, to be honest, there's zero time saving.
No.
If anything, it might even be slightly slower.
Yeah.
But he can hand that job to anybody in the shop and they'll be able to do it. All you have to do is stand like that and then
Yeah,
flip a
that-
screen round.
That's the issue.
Allegedly.
When I can't control the angle and the feet and the force and the pressure, then I argue that you can get anybody to do it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The unit only moves the screen. You still
Yeah,
control
you still have to do
the
that.
force, the angle, and the pressure. One of the things I tried really hard in the last shop, you remember the lady with the arthritis?
Yeah.
Coating the screens. The one thing I really struggled with is she over-rotated the coating trough, which left this big gap
Bit of
at
a
the
gap.
bottom here.
Yeah.
So, and it took, because she's been doing it for so long, it took me a long time to undo that muscle memory of
Muscle
push
memory, that's
there
it.
and then stop doing that. So, it's still, although it's simpler, I still think I don't agree that it cuts out the variables of
Well, let's not
pressure,
say cut
angle.
out. Let's
No.
say
It
at
reduces
least
one, speed. That's the
it
only thing it
reduce-
reduces.
it makes it easier to teach. I'm sure it helps. It's easy. Well, I don't know. Let's just scrap that whole entire idea. What I really need, Ricardo, is an auto coater. Forget the
A
semi
nice,
proper
economical
one.
auto coater that you could do a good review on. And if you don't like it, you can take it away again.
I mean, this guy not even paid me. Imagine what I would do for you, Ricardo. I might not even swear in the video.
Want a full promise that? Well, it was just a maybe. I might not.
Might.
So yeah, I think a coater's a good idea, but it won't save you any time. It would just reduce those variables so you could get anybody in to do it. You could bring your mum in and say, right, mum, that's my stack of 43s that I've cleaned. While I'm printing this job, you cut them screens for me.
Yeah.
And they'd all be perfect and exactly the same as you want. So that's the main advantage of that, not time, other than it frees you up to do something else. It's unattended coating if you can get somebody else to put the screen across the bottom.
Yeah. And to be fair, in the past, the guy I had doing the screen coating for me wasn't that good. I was always coming across pinholes and stuff like that.
You always get these variables. But
Yeah.
I think so
The washing
the
of it is an issue
machine
as well.
the machine gets rid of the variables, that's for sure.
And I think like an auto reclaim. One, we've had the conversation that is it really as good as we? You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we had the old Bryce thing. We had the old conversation with
Yeah.
Bryce where he's throwing away the chemicals every Monday, so therefore keeping it fresh. I quite like the idea. I know I can't get the same chemicals that he's using over here, the same chemicals that he's using would cost me maybe 250 quid.
Yeah.
So
But Bryce also is a shining example of how you should use the equipment and why it is very effective for him and why basically he uses the equipment properly. But there's an awful lot of people that are
that don't.
not freshening up the chemicals, not keeping it pristine clean, and they have headache and it's not so great. And then we have a bloke at the end at tunnel dryer power washing it anyway. And I know a couple of I've spoke to 2 printers who have got them. I think the Zentner, I think they've got. And
Hi, Alex.
oh wow, yeah, he was not entirely impressed either, from what I understand. So
that's the same unit as Bryce
anyway. That's
the same unit as Bryce.
So maybe we should have a chat.
Exactly the same unit.
Yeah.
So again, the beauty of the unit, whether you get a good one, a bad one, a cheap one, an expensive one, whether you throw loads of chemicals at it, it's that unattended cleaning, that unattended process. You don't have to stand with a
gun, power wash.
Yeah, but not gun. A lance, yeah,
a joust,
a power lance. You don't have to sit with a power lance in front of you in your hands for 4 hours, 5 hours out of the day.
I'm getting arthritis, me. I tell you, I think I'm getting arthritis because I'm in pain.
Pulling a squeegee
now.
Pulling a squeegee, carpal tunnel syndrome.
So I think I'm
especially if you've got that, you know that.
No. John Potter got in touch with me the week because I posted like an old.
Have you woke the bear?
I've woke the dragon. I can't afford it, John. I'm sorry, I just can't. So you know when you go on Instagram and you can look at your on this day 3 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
There was a picture and I had that squeegee and John and John got in touch and said, "What is that shit?" Basically, and I promised him I'd chucked it in bin. So I think it's over there to be honest, but I don't use it.
It still gets good publicity in America.
People like it.
But yeah, there's a couple of people still using them in America and still starting off with them and swearing by them.
Yeah,
obviously they're wrong, and it's my job to re-educate them and rehabilitate them and put them back into the real world and stop buying these gimmicky shit sold by people who don't know what they're talking about. Which we can take that on as a passion.
That seems to be our SP right now, doesn't it? SP, you know what I mean?
USB.
USB.
Where are we going with this?
So where are you, Tony? I don't think I've asked you, have I? He's back. He's back in UK. Did you know that children in the United Kingdom over 5 years old can consume alcohol at home and other private areas? And apparently that's not the case in America.
Have you Googled UK?
Yeah. We've got a tradition to upkeep.
Okay.
Did you also know, no matter where you are in the UK, you'll never be far from a Red Lion pub? And it's not a chain. It's not a franchise. It just happens.
Pub called the Red Lion.
Yeah, there just happens to be over 600 distinct and completely unrelated Red Lion pubs in the UK. How fun!
I thought you were going to say no matter where you are, you're never far away from a rat, but you actually ended up
with
Red Lion.
That's New York. No, Red Lions. You get a lot of Cross Keys as well, don't you?
Cross Keys, Red Lion. Yeah,
you'll have one in Wakey. There'll be one of each. Yeah, fun bit of trivia for you.
I think Red Lion in Wakey is a Chinese.
Is it?
I think it is, yeah.
Well, we have to diversify these pubs nowadays, don't we? So. Right, so you're back home.
I'm back home. I've been home. I've got no idea what day it is. I've been home 3 days. I started my journey home. This was the longest I've ever taken to come home.
So you was in a car for a long time, weren't you?
I had a lot of driving to do, number one, but then my last job took me the furthest I could possibly be away from my departure airport from the States. And British Airways, if you're listening, small chance, get with the times, allow people to change. You know, things change. In their defence, I could change the time or date of my departure up until 10 minutes before I got on the plane. So that was really flexible. So I've got no problem with that. Obviously, you pay a change fee, no problem.
Yeah.
And the one thing they would not let me do, it wasn't even an option, was change my actual airport.
Oh,
So when I landed in the States, I landed in Los Angeles.
yeah.
But at that point there, I had zero idea of where I would actually leave the United States from.
Oh,
So my flight was booked to land and leave Los Angeles. And I could push my time back, which I did.
yeah.
I pushed it back to the right time, so I'm going home on the right date. But the one thing they wouldn't let me do, which Delta do, United Airlines do, even American Airlines, who I don't like, even they let you do it. They wouldn't let me change my departure airport because it was part of a return ticket.
Oh, right. Wow.
So I bought, I've already used the ticket.
Yes, it's like locked in.
So I didn't buy
Got to go
two
back.
tickets. I buy one ticket, which is fly out and return. So yeah, it's just
Bit
British
tight,
Airways
isn't
stuck in the ways.
Bit tight,
So that meant I had to try and manipulate my last job to be close to Los Angeles,
Yeah.
which would have been great. But as it turned out, my last job was in Alabama, and they're like this far apart.
Yeah.
So I had to take a 6-hour flight left to go 12 hours right.
Oh, God.
So, and I had a massive, because I'm a little bit like squeaky bum time about close departures, I had a massive 9-hour layover in Los Angeles.
Bloody hell.
Which I thought, it's okay, because I've looked online, and you can actually just get a taxi out of Los Angeles down to Manhattan Beach. It's 10 minutes. It's like $10, $12. It's next to no.
Yeah.
And go sit on a beach or sit on a
Chill
bank
out.
overlooking the beach for 6 hours and then come back to the airport. It pissed it down.
Oh,
The
that's
whole
bloody
10 hours.
typical.
So I didn't even leave the airport. So I set
God.
off home at 4 a.m. Friday morning, and I got home around about 9 p.m. Saturday night.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so
And then
hell of a
you
journey.
took a trip to Printwear. Did you actually get home?
So I got home at
did you go
9
straight to
p.m. 9 p.m. Saturday,
Birmingham?
and then Sunday morning drove down to Birmingham to have a look at Printwear on the Sunday. Which was it was a good show. We met up with Sarah, met up with Alex at Super
bumped
Screen.
Bumped into a few people. You what?
Yeah, bumped into Ewart. Yeah, bumped into Ewart yesterday.
Dave
we're trying to do a skill swap. He wants to. I'm going to want him to teach me all about a 50-mile run, and I'll fix any problem he's got on his press. Apparently, that's what I agreed to yesterday.
Yeah,
but I'm all right with that.
fair deal. Worth it.
Because he runs 50 miles like, it's no tomorrow. It's like, oh
Well,
yeah,
he's done-
I think I'll run a 50 mile today.
Have you done two already?
No, hang on. Let me book it at night in the middle of winter. I'll wait while it's snowing though, and I'll do that one.
God, some
wrong
people are crackers.
Yeah.
Some people are crackers. Wired one.
So yeah, and Dave Roper. Had a good chat with Dave Roper. I know Dave for a long, long time. He's a good friend. Even though I've never bought out from him. Sorry, Dave. He's still a good friend.
Yeah. So
my assessment of Printwear, is that what you're going to ask me?
Well, do you know what? My impression. It's not a pun. It's not the same show, is it? Impression.
It's the Long Beach show, but I got you. I know what page
you know how I'll go. You know how I'll go.
Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Oh.
So basically, from what I could see, Dave had a copperhead. Anatole had a manual, or Kipax had an Anatole manual, and it was just DTG and DTF and a bit of embroidery and fashion from what I saw through socials.
That's a good assessment. I think that's a good, fair assessment.
So even MHM, it was our brother, wasn't it?
Yeah, MHM didn't have a press, not even a flood bar.
Why?
Dave had
too expensive.
Copperhead press. You'd have to read between the lines and say, is this where the industry's going? I don't know.
Yeah, but then you can go to Impressions and Vespa. I mean, I hope Vespa, and they're going to have autos.
Yeah. I think it's just I think it's a good reflection of how that part of the industry is going for that particular supplier. Dave took a press for the first time I don't know, I can't remember Dave taking a working press.
Right.
and an exposure unit and some bits and pieces. MHM stand was all brother.
Yeah.
100% brother
GTX
with
or
a
something.
Chiosi Cavasuti dryer and some heat pressers. Anatole was, I didn't know that Kipax was the dealer for Anatole.
It's very fresh. It's only
must
been
admit.
this year.
Is it?
I got an email about it. I
Is that
feel
who
like
came
it's
to see you?
no, that was
Is that Delco, wasn't it?
that was Delco.
Rich
Our
fella.
favourite dryer.
Yeah.
Or your favourite dryer, anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, this is interesting. A little divergent. I saw a dryer listed on Facebook, used marketplace, and it was like a double belt, or it had a return belt. So you run it through, and then it drops down onto a belt below it and sends it back to you. Never seen
Chiosi
them before.
Cavasuti.
Or was it a cap? Now it did say DTG.
Yeah,
Is it
so
any good for
Chiosi
screen print?
Cavasuti, and that was there. And that was sold as a DTG dryer. So a single operator. So for a
Yeah.
single operator, printing one every minute and a half, then you put one down the dryer, turn around,
Aye.
and then you turn around again without walking anywhere, and it's there. Or you put the box at your feet, and you can still see what's coming out.
Yeah. So it's not really suitable for screen print or anything like that.
I do know one screen printer with one.
Right.
So these are the guys at Doomsday down in.
Well, maybe
Bridgend
that's who's
in
selling
Wales.
it.
I don't think so. I think it's still using it.
Yeah.
It might be. I don't know. And they have DTG and an auto.
All right.
So the DTG part of it, it needs to be in the dryer for a long time.
Yeah.
So let's say 2 minutes. But the plastisol only needs to be in there for a minute.
Right.
So what you've got there is you've got a 20-foot dryer and a 10-foot dryer in one piece of equipment. If you want the
depending on what you're
20-foot, you
printing.
let it go back through.
Yeah.
If you want the 10-foot, you stand somebody at the end taking them off.
Oh, I see.
In fact, now at the Impressions show, we had the exact same dryer, but there's an attachment you can now buy, like a slide, that sits in between the two belts,
Yeah.
so that you activate the slide so that it falls into a box at the end of the dryer, or you lift the slide out of the way and it comes back to you where the box is where you are.
Cool.
Really simple idea. Works really well. If you've got both DTG and analog printer.
Analog.
Does that make us an analog printers? I think it does, yeah.
Possibly.
An analog printer, then yeah, it can do both. Am I a big fan of them? No.
Yeah.
Main reason, time. When the dryers get that small, if you're a one-man band with an auto, fine. If you're a three-person band with an auto, you're going to be running at plus 600 an hour, and the dryer tops out with a normal A4 size print at around about 250 to 300 an hour.
Yeah. Right.
So you're pushing the bottleneck becomes the dryer, not the press.
Yeah, you're sort of pointless having an auto if you can't get them through the dryer quick enough, you know.
It's that, well, if you're working on your own, it's you quite happily would accept 300 an hour.
Yeah, possibly.
Working on your own.
Yeah. Well,
But
when I get an auto,
if you're paying two other people to stand and work with you, is 300 an hour enough to contribute to their wages?
Yeah. I mean, when I get an auto, the next step is going to be, I'm gonna have an auto machine printing. I'm probably not gonna have a massive dryer, and I'm probably going to be running that auto slow, which is all right for me.
If you do need a massive dryer, just get in touch with Sarah at Heck Press. She's just bought one bigger than her unit.
Why?
She puts the shirt on. She puts the shirt on in the kitchen, then she runs all the way across the yard, and then opens a little unit up, and at the end of the unit, then it comes out and drops in the box.
You just can't help get a bargain, Sarah. Honestly, she ought to just be the next day roper, because she'll pick up some right bargains.
Except she buys most of it from him, so.
Oh, that might answer. So there was a question, why are you pissed off? So I might have the answer to that question now.
Oh yeah, we know the answer to that question. Yeah,
No,
that's because she wants chili on a sandwich.
Right, well.
So we just touched on. I just touched on wages there, and it just lit a light in my head. That's something I wanted to sort of like talk to you about.
Wages. God, don't talk to me about
Wages.
them.
So yeah,
What's a
because
wage?
Yeah, yeah. It's the whole reason you're supposed to be doing this. You know, that little bit of leftover money at the end. Stop buying gimmicky, sticky stuff from America and spend it on yourself.
You tight get. I put a lot of effort into promoting that.
So, as a one-man band, I've seen lots more one-man bands. And like you, one-man band,
Yeah.
mom and pop shop. And even buying autos, but staying as a one-man band.
Yeah, yeah.
The Rock purposefully marketed, and they had a press that only had one empty station. So you put on and took off on the same station.
All right, yeah.
So normally there's two empty stations, one where you load, one where you unload.
But they've got
The
one
Rock
just
built a U, I think it was.
Yeah, like the
which
UM
was,
or
we would
whatever.
normally say an 810.
Yeah.
This was a 910.
Yeah, I've seen it. I nearly bought one actually, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You sent me it, didn't you?
Yeah, so they've got that one open station, perfectly designed for a one-man band.
Yeah.
But then, really, to be more efficient, you need at least two people on the press and one on the end of the drive.
Yeah, you need somebody chucking shirts down dry, don't you?
So over here, I think the minimum wage has just gone up to £10.50 an hour.
It's 20 grand at least.
So that's taking somebody from the street who can only just manage to find their own pants in the morning.
You're obsessed with pants, you.
Teach. I mean trousers, obviously.
Been in America too long.
So, and then teaching them how to count past 10, despite them only having 10 digits. That's 11. You're going to have to take your shoes and socks off for that one. and then teaching the quality control as well and going through all that. Then brand new green off the street, even from Crackadella, you're going to have to give them 20 grand a year.
I know. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got all these strikes going on and you know, talk of fair wage and stuff like that, and I completely understand. But bloody hell, as an employee, it's hard. Like, especially as a small business, like for me, it's a massive decision to take someone on to help because it's 20 grand.
You have to contribute. Yeah, you have to find 20 grand in your bottom line first.
Yeah, you have to justify that decision by saying this person is going to make me more than 20 grand. Otherwise, what's the point?
And if not, they're taking 20 grand out of your pocket, physically from your pocket, not from your business, from your pocket. So this year, Danny, you can earn 40 grand this year, Danny. Or we can split it 50-50 and I'll catch shirts on the end of dryer all day. One. Is this 9 or 11?
Isn't it crackers?
It's crazy, isn't it? So I'm interested in what... So this problem happens around the world. It is not just us.
It's not just us, no.
The biggest problem I get asked now is, do you know any staff? Do you know any printers? Do you know a printer? Do you know a staff? Do you know anybody that wants a job? And in America, they look at quite innovative ways to try and solve this problem. One of them was a referral scheme.
Yeah.
I loved this. If you refer a family member to come and work with you, you both get $1,000 each. If you manage to stay there for 3 months, you both get $1,000 each bonus.
Wow.
The starting salary got me, the starting wage. So depending on where you are up and down the country, but I'll take an average.
Yeah.
I know one guy says to me, I'm setting a guy on as a printer. I said, all right, has he printed before? No, never held a squeegee in his life.
Yeah.
Don't even know what a screen is, never seen the process. I'm paying him $30 an hour. So that would roughly work out to about 26 quid an hour.
That's a chunk of wage, isn't it? That's more than minimum.
$30, that's 75 grand a year.
Wow.
To just print on a press that he's never seen before with no skill, no previous experience.
Why don't I just go to America?
I've seen this go up and up and up. So walking off the street, stand on the end of the dryer, northern Minnesota, it's cold as fuck, you don't want to go there. $24 an hour. No experience.
Outrageous.
$24 an hour, that's 65 grand a year.
Yeah.
To stand on the end of the dryer. And if you still happen to be there after 3 months, $3 grand bonus.
$3 grand in your pocket.
And if you're still there after 6 months, which is such a rarity, another $3 grand bonus, so $6 grand.
God. Yeah, so all I'm saying is, Bryce, if you want somebody
There's an open interview for Danny to come across.
Let me come work for you for a few years, and then I'll come buy me an auto. I could easily put enough money away.
No word of a lie. If you said to me privately, Tony, I'm sacking it all off. I've done it all in. I've got this bird in America. She's willing to sponsor me, put me up and everything. I've got no price. No. I've got somewhere to live. I've got no commitments. Do you think you could find me a job? Jesus, yeah. I could probably find you a job that pays you more than you're earning now.
That one, yeah. I can guarantee that myself, to be fair. It's just crackers, isn't it? Crackers.
Yeah. It is absolutely balmy.
Something wrong with me.
So where do you want to go?
Where do I start? Texas looks fun.
Now, Texas has no income tax. So whatever you earn, you keep. So the average sort of minimum wage in Texas is around about between $7 and $10.
Ah, right, I see.
But there is no income tax. Whereas some of the ones with a really high starting wage have up to 40% taxes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We are around about 25% in the UK.
Yeah.
We on average pay about 13 and 12%. One national insurance, one tax.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't have to pay for healthcare.
I think on a serious note, I have always...
Serious?
Yeah, I know. What's up with us? I have actually, to be fair, I have justified to myself that everything I do and my stubbornness to make that what I consider to be a success, there's a fail-safe at the end of it. If it doesn't happen, I'll point it at my wall painting.
All right.
Not my camera. I'm sure I could put my name out there, and I'm sure I could find myself a print-related job. I'm a bloody good printer, to be honest, and I'm sure if it all went tits up, I could put my name out there and just go work for someone and print and make a reasonable living.
The issue with that is you work for yourself.
Yeah.
And
well, if I were to do it,
hard.
if I were to do that, it would have to be a very drastic change, and I would want to disappear to some other country, and it'd have to be real drastic. I couldn't just go nip up road, move down road a bit, and because it'd be a drastic decision. The boss is back. Quit, Tony.
No, somebody offered me a job in another country, and the salary was, I'll call it unique. It's enough to make me go.
Make you think about it.
But I think the fact of being my own boss, working for myself, getting up this morning, I decided not to go to Printwear, not to do what
yeah,
have a bit of
do
time
what you
to
fancy.
myself.
Yeah.
Just actually appeals to me more than a big pile of money. No, it don't. I won't give me the money.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something inside me that just has to make it work. Just has to. My best mate actually, she set up a cafe not too long after I started this, a coffee shop, and she's having to close it now. So it's been 6 years, and she's having to close it, and it's just because everything's just got too much, too expensive. She's having to put her prices up, and then everybody's going, "Oh bloody hell, that's expensive," but she ain't got a choice. And just the stress and the pressure, and things break, and then it has to get mended, etc., etc., etc. It's just come to an end, and she's just said, "Danny, I just can't do it anymore. I just want, and I'm just going to get out while I can, and go work and have a slightly easier life."
I must have see a lot of coffee shops fail. But I think it's a good idea to start with, and then eventually it's not.
Yeah. But I had this conversation with her, and as much as I could relate to everything she was saying, because I go through the same shit to an extent, I could not face giving up. I couldn't face it, which is why it would
That's
have
just
to.
stubbornness, though.
I'd
That's
have
just
to,
stubbornness of just saying, right, I'm not failing at this.
But this is why when I say it'd have to be a drastic change, it'd almost to justify it. I'd have to just maybe I'd have to bury my head in sand a bit and just piss off to some other country, just to sort of get over myself.
I've had a couple of English printers ask me if I can get them a job in America.
Yeah.
A couple.
Right.
We don't go down that road of recommending printers because they usually let you down. But
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I get asked every
I've
now
done
and
it. The
again.
last time I did it, I got let
Backfired.
down quite badly.
Even on a not quite the same, I get asked to recommend, like, somebody will say, "Oh, can you print this shirt for me?" And I say, "Oh, well, not really. You need to get that DTG printed or embroidered or whatever." And I find it very hard to. And they usually say, "Oh, well, do you know anybody?" And every time I've passed it on and said, "Yeah, well, I know this bloke," it's always
It's fucked up.
backfired. He's messed it up and then they come back to me and say, "Well, thanks for that." I was like, "Oh, for God's sake!" Right, can I go for a wee, Tony?
Yes.
As is tradition.
Yeah. Don't forget to edit this bit out though this time, will you?
I know. Do you know what
Otherwise,
happened?
you just get me going like this.
That last episode was a nightmare. I exported it 3 times and then uploaded it because it kept failing. And what had happened is my laptop had run out of hard drive space and I didn't realise. So it'd get to end the episode and all volume had just cut out because it didn't quite export it. So I had a right do with that. Anyway, at least
Go
I've
for a
solved
wee.
that problem. Right, 2 minutes.
You have a wee break. I have a coffee break.
And then you'll need a wee break.
No.
Would you like a shirt, Tony?
I've got a grown-up bladder.
Yeah, no, I never developed that. mine's still 3-year-old. Would you like a shirt, Tony?
Absolutely.
Would you? I mean,
Absolutely,
I was
yeah.
going to send you one without asking, but I thought, would you wear it? I don't know.
I
I'll send
saw
one.
you with your XL. I'm going to say send me an XL
That's what I got out, XL.
because my training's not going well.
You've not been training so much, or is it just
I've been
getting,
training all the time. No, I've been training all the time. I've got a dodgy
bit of a
knee.
wall.
Thought I might rest. 2 of my training sessions dropped on a travel day.
Right.
So I was supposed to put them on to the next day. While I was with Dave, not a minute spare.
No.
Not a minute spare. So I skipped about 3 sessions.
Right.
And I'm supposed to do one today. And as soon as we put the phone down here, I'm off out for a 2-hour run.
Fucking hell. Do you know when you have that little gap, it's hard, isn't it? If once you're in that routine and you can keep up with it, no bother, and you actually enjoy it. But if you have a few days off, getting back into it.
Travelling for 2 days, one of those days was a run day. So I'll put it off to the next day. Next day, went down to Birmingham, done everything. By the time I come back, it's dark, it's raining. I'm like, I'm not going for a run. I'll do it in the morning.
No.
Tried to do it in the morning, didn't do it. Slept in because of time zones. And here I am now. I've missed 3 sessions now. So I've got to get back into it.
It'll come back. Same as out, isn't it? That first one will suck. But
Nashville, by the way, with Dave.
National? Oh,
Nashville.
Nashville.
Oh. So yeah, I flew into Nashville. We were going to Alabama, next state down, but we weren't going far into it.
Yeah.
And new favourite place. I'm definitely going back there.
Really?
Proper vibe to it, yeah.
What is it about Nashville?
I'm a little bit of a country music freak though, so.
Bit of Johnny Cash?
Yeah, the new stuff, yeah, some new stuff.
I like Johnny Cash. I got Johnny Cash too, actually.
It's a little bit of a like a New Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like a New Vegas with a Broadway and the lights and every bar's got a little guy with a guitar and a girl singing and really, really good vibe to it. Definitely going to go back there.
Very cultured.
Yeah, very heavily based around country music. So if you don't like country music, then no. But yeah.
What
place
I
to
mean,
be.
the most important question is, what's the food like?
Really good, really good. And as the further south you go, so in Nashville it was hot chicken. So I had a hot chicken sandwich, and that was like our version of piri piri chicken. Really nice.
Right.
And then as I went further south into Alabama, we ended up dropping into a. When I say Alabama, it sounds wrong. When they say it, it's completely different. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And if I say it like that, I sound like I'm taking the piss. Alabama.
Yeah, you do actually. You made that sound very redneck. That was a little bit offensive.
Which is what they are, yeah.
Chuffing chicken chasers. That might
should have that with me. So yeah, but Dave took us to a place and we had these fried chicken, which is like southern fried chicken, you know? Southern fried chicken? No.
But nicer.
No. This is a different level. This is like Southern Fried Chicken's down here, sort of like just around about mediocre.
Yeah.
This fried chicken that I had was up here. It was like the best fried chicken I've ever tasted in my life. And that's all it was fried chicken. But it was just awesome. Crispy and moist.
Well.
Just absolutely gorgeous. With collard greens.
Collard greens, so what's that then?
Well, I thought, collard greens, I don't know, I'll have to have that. And that's like the best I can get is spinach or cabbage.
An aubergine with a shirt
no.
on.
Yeah.
A cucumber in a tux.
You can't get them now. And hush puppies.
I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is.
A hush puppy's like deep fried cornbread. It's just delicious. It shouldn't be nice. So basically said, do you want bread or hush puppies? Well,
right.
He got hush puppies and he got hush puppies. I'll have a hush puppy.
Yeah.
I thought, if you bring me a brown shoe, it'll be my fault.
Yeah.
But brought me these little cornbread things that were just to die for.
So I guess we have them instead of chips.
Yeah. Instead of bread, I think.
Instead of bread. Yeah, interesting. See, when you say hush puppies, the image that comes to mind is a hot dog on a stick, like wrapped in pastry.
That's a corn dog.
That's a corn dog.
Corn dogs are also to die for. So my first ever state fair, I had a corn dog. And I just wanted to eat another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And there's a chain opened up around here. First of all, there was a steakhouse in Wakefield, not part of a chain, independent, nice little bistro chain, a steakhouse. And they started doing corn dogs, and nobody was getting them. I'm like,
yeah, right.
I now know what they are now, and they're actually delicious. On a stick, yeah, it's like a sausage lollipop.
Yeah.
And
sounds
then,
endearing, apparently.
And now Hickory's, which is a chain that's just starting to open up, sort of American fare around here. Is they do corn dogs as well, and I think you get 3 like little ones that are there to die for as well.
I had a bird. I went on a date with an American bird. I'm pretty sure she was from Alabama, and she walked about Alabama. She had
There you go.
she had. Mine was slightly less racist. She had, although I did call them chicken chasers 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
They carry around. She carried around a bottle of hot sauce in a handbag because
They have hot sauce on everything.
Yeah, it's just everything. And she thinks food here is just so bland and plain.
Yeah.
Like
on steak.
Yeah.
They'll spend like $50 on a steak,
and
make
cover
it
it in
absolutely
sauce.
gorgeous, and then put bleeding hot sauce on it that burns your tongue off.
Yeah. How strange. We're just very bland people in UK, apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently so. So, Tony, how are you for time?
I'm alright. We're good.
Good. Yeah, I'm in no rush.
Yeah, no, because you haven't done anything today, so you might as well just not do anything all day.
What's the word? Recline?
Dicked about.
I've dicked about, yeah. I've settled on a laptop day, so.
Alright.
So I've hit you with my bold statement. Can I ask you a question on behalf of Hewitt?
Who I met yesterday, yeah.
Maybe he didn't ask you. He wants to know what your favourite shop biscuit is. Now, when he asked me this question, I thought, a shop biscuit? Is that a bit like a shop dog? As in, nobody really has a shop dog. They just happen to have a dog and then bring it into the shop and take a picture of it and send it to Images magazine and call it a shop dog. So what we're saying now, Hewitt would like to know is, what's your shop biscuit? Which I assume is basically, what biscuit do you happen to eat at your shop?
If I'm at a shop and there's an arrangement of biscuits, I'm going to go for the chocolate digestive every time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You'll be coming at me with your rich teas.
Oh no. You see, well, I'm not into tea or like that. I feel like that's a bit of a tea biscuit, isn't it? People into it with teas and stuff, but I can't drink all like that. I don't know. I just eat all me. I'm a bit greedy, to be honest. I'll eat any biscuit. I don't particularly have a favourite. I'm very liberal like that.
On my visits to shops in the States,
do Americans have biscuits?
They don't have. Well, if we go down the biscuit route, that's for another one. Well, remind me about biscuits afterwards.
All right.
They said, "Do you want some donuts?"
Oh,
so we'll go to the donut shop, and I mean we're getting donuts over here, aren't we? But
yeah,
you just can't compare to what they have over there. When I went to sort of like Kokomo in Indiana, and then just like this huge array of chocolate donuts and normal donuts and just diabetes in a box, basically. And the last one in Alabama, he said, "I'll get you some donuts. It's really good shop. It's here and here and everywhere." And they were mini donuts.
All right. But they're mini donuts are our normal donuts.
No, they were about that size.
All right.
But these were dangerous diabetes.
Right.
So like, what's this one? Oh, that one's bacon and maple syrup on a donut.
Wow. Right.
Bacon and maple
Very
syrup.
Canadian.
That doesn't work. Bacon and maple syrup
I think that's
on a donut?
Yeah.
No. It did work. It was
Yeah.
delicious. And they were like that big, so you just like...
Just keep going.
Just keep going with them. Delicious.
I think that's very Canadian. Bacon and maple syrup. I'm sure that's a Canadian thing.
One with just nuts and one with something else. Just delightful.
Yeah.
Biscuits. So.
Well, I'll tell you what yours is.
Go on. What's yours?
Just give me a minute to find it. This was like 2 weeks ago when we were supposed to record this. Like 2 weeks ago. Where is he? He did.
He's getting a bit of a celebrity on this, is Stuart.
In
Yeah. You have to mention where he's from. He's from Dewastone.
Yeah.
And so it was at Printwear yesterday with Rory from Dewastone.
Yeah.
We were talking about lots of different bits and pieces that Dewastone are very dolphin friendly.
Is Dewastone a business, not a town?
Yes.
All right. That's
Dewastone's a business. They're based in Princetown. On the Moors, Dartmoor. I think it's on Dartmoor. Might be Exmoor.
Dartmoor.
Excuse me. I think it's Dartmoor.
Very rural.
It's on way to Cornwall.
Yeah. Oh, aye, that'd be lovely. That.
And Princetown really has 3 shops, a pub, and a massive prison.
Very rural.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Named after Prince Charlie, I think.
So. Ewart, FYI, it is pink wafers, Jaffa cakes, and fig rolls. Fig rolls are
pink
minging,
wafers, like Neapolitan wafers, those ones.
Yeah, the little square crumbly things.
Oh, yeah. And fig rolls.
Fig rolls. Yeah.
There's something wrong with them.
Is that even a biscuit? In fact, actually,
it's more of a cake.
I feel like we've got an argument to have with Ewart here because he's
Jaffa
basically
cake
asked
is
us.
A cake.
Pink wafers, is that a biscuit?
Yeah.
And fig rolls. Ewart says, what's your favourite biscuit? And then proceeds to tell us 3 non-biscuits.
Yeah.
Have a word, Ewart.
What's all that about? You know the difference between a cake and a biscuit?
I know, we've had this conversation, haven't we?
Yeah.
One goes soft and one goes hard.
That's the very fellow. Yeah. One starts soft and finishes hard, like my squeegee routine.
I'm glad that's where you went. Because that could have gone drastically wrong. Oh, dear.
So, biscuits in America.
Oh, go on then.
So, a breakfast dish in America, and I had this explained to me. I made the mistake once. Would you like biscuits and gravy?
Yeah, it's like bread, innit? I've heard of this.
Biscuits and gravy. Well, gravy's a brown meat juice.
Hobnob and some gravy.
Hobnob and bisto. That's not going to work for me. You order it, and all I can get is like a badly made scone and some sick.
Yeah. I've heard,
some
I
vomit,
heard of this.
some white vomit. But apparently, no. The biscuit is like a bread substance.
I've seen it. It looks like a rectangular piece of gone off bread, kind of
circular,
kind of hard.
And the gravy is it's a white sauce made from pig juice.
Pig juice?
Bacon juice. Bacon.
Oh, right, yeah. Wow.
I said, look, I'll eat that if you eat black pudding. Simple as that.
Do you like black pudding?
What's black pudding? I love black pudding.
Don't tell them.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And it was basically pig's blood in a sausage. You're complaining about ours? No.
Oh, Christ on a bike. Anyway, so now we've had a little food chat. I've got a question for you because it's something that
just bring it back to screen printing.
It's something that I have pondered, and now I know there's a scientific answer to this, and this is why I'm asking you. Set you up for failure.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Discharge.
So we do talk about things, before we go on air, and you never mention this shit.
No, it's all got to be off at cuff. This is as raw and real as it gets.
Cuff. That's about as Yorkshire as you can get. Off at cuff.
So, What is to stop me from adding discharge activator to other inks? Let's just say HSA for an example. What is it in discharge base? Now I assume there is a scientific reason because base and activator and combined, there must be something in base combined with an activator that causes a reaction. I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yeah.
Or can I just put activator powder formaldehyde into any old ink and expect some sort of discharging to happen?
No.
Right,
No, because the bleaching agent isn't the crystals.
right.
The bleaching agent is already in the base. It's just activated
It
with the
activates it.
crystals.
Right, right.
So the bleaching agent is already in the base. It's just that
Yep.
it's inert. It doesn't do anything until it comes into contact with,
Yeah,
I'm going to say zinc, ZFS. I'm sure it's called ZFS.
yeah, that sounds familiar. Because
And I
that is the
think
name of
it's,
one of them.
I'm not sure what the F is, whether it is formaldehyde or not.
What the F is it? That's what I want to know.
ZFS. Quick Google. ZFS powder. Okay.
Zero formaldehyde solution.
No, it's not.
It would have been good if it were, though. It's a good guess.
Yeah. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in it. That's a Magna question.
It is actually. Oh well,
That's a definite.
we'll
That's
have
a
to do
definite
that.
Magna question.
We'll pass it on. I'm still waiting for my pen badge to Visa.
Upset wait for mine as well.
Yeah.
So promise me one. Never mind you.
Oh, dear. I had this thought because I actually played with Discharge a couple of weeks ago.
So the guy, before we go on to that, the guy that's had the problem with the European Union level of
Oh yeah.
parts per million of formaldehyde,
Yeah.
corrected me, saying that in the European Union you're no longer allowed to put a sticker on that says
Yeah,
wash before wear. So shout out to Subcola, were it?
Yeah, Subcooler. Was it Subcooler?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Subcooler.
Shout out to him for pointing me out that I didn't know. Actually,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. I thought you could still get away with putting that in. And I'm just reading it here now. It says the European Union has a formaldehyde exposure threshold of 75 parts per million for apparel and for small children and infants.
Wow.
A discharge garment that has not been aired out for several days or washed after printing will not pass this test.
No. That's crazy, isn't it? Because that would be something that nobody knows, or very few people know. So, I've seen this claim made, and I've often thought, are you sure? Discharge eco-friendly. Because I've seen shops who call themselves eco-friendly, and they print discharge. Like, literally, that's all they do. And to me, I just
Is it
can't help but
eco-friendly?
think,
Yes. The only part of the environment it damages
your
is the soft,
fucking lungs.
squishy things.
Aye, the
The soft,
printer.
squishy thing. It's not lungs. It's a topical.
Oh, really?
It's a topical reaction.
So it's not so much
So it
breathing
can cause
in.
like a chemical burn if you got it under your skin, or a chemical reaction if you got it against your skin for a while.
I mean, I would debate that slightly because I once did a marathon print with discharge ink, and I can't remember if it was in here or it was in a different shop, but both shops have always been very closed off. There's like one window in the shop which I could open to get a bit of fresh air, and I spent 2 days in bed because I was breathing it in, and by Christ, I felt crap the next day.
You've been breathing the fumes of it being cooked, or breathing the actual ink.
Yeah, I just started drinking it. No, like
Because
obviously
breathing the
the
ink
burnt off
fumes
fumes.
it's the burnt off fumes, but most of that's coming from the garment.
All right. Yeah. All right then. Fair enough.
So where you're bleaching the dye out the garment.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So it isn't necessarily the ink; it's the dye
The reaction with the
evaporating.
garment, yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So,
So I'll give you that one.
cheers. The reason, catch me blindsided, then give me it. The reason that they can say it's eco-friendly is because the big, nasty, horrible thing in the environment that hurts everything is plastic or PVC.
Yeah.
So discharge has no PVC.
No.
Therefore, it is eco-friendly.
Yeah.
that's how they come up with that label of eco-friendly.
Yeah,
It's because
fair
it's
enough.
water-based, not plastic-based. It
Yeah,
has some acrylic in it, but shh, don't tell anybody.
I know. Well, even water-based HSA stuff has acrylic in.
What's the A stand for?
Acrylic, isolated acrylic. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Which is plastic.
But not PVC, which everybody hates.
Yeah, yeah. We should have asked a nextpert.
What's that, Danny? What's a nextpert?
You're gonna have to explain it to me, so I forgot. It's
You
just
mean
a key word.
it's an expert? It's the next expert.
next
Someone who's been
expert.
printing for at least maybe 6 to 8 months, and therefore believes they know everything. You know, like a 21-year-old knows they know everything, so you can't teach them anything.
Probably got a
This is
YouTube
very
channel.
similar. Yeah, this is very similar. Oh, right, well, I actually suck at selling printed T-shirts. I can print them, but I suck at selling them. How else can I make money? I know, I'll call myself an expert. What I'll be is I'll be a consultant. I'll just go online. I'll close my door. You want to buy some shirts? Screw you. Look, watch my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Watch me on TikTok do a silly dance while I'm stripping a screen. That's a much better way of me earning money. I can't be asked to sit at this press and push a squeegee all bleeding day. Why do I want to push a squeegee all day when I can just put some shitty silly dance on or silly music on TikTok and earn even more money than I could if I were just blindly just printing T-shirts?
You don't let it get to you, though, do you, Tony? It don't
You
bother
did
you.
press a button there, didn't you?
It don't irk you at all, does it?
Not at all, no. I can just let them live and let live, mate.
I think it's clear. I think it's very clear now that the Chippy Tea pet hate is the nextpert.
Nextpert.
It's
So
a
big shout out to Big Dave who taught me that word, nextpert.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. Right, I'm looking at your list at this point now, Tony.
I didn't think I felt so passionate about it.
It all came out. You've got to get it off your chest, though, haven't you? Sometimes you just got to get it off your chest. You feel so much better for it.
I honestly thought I was quite a
Calm person.
conservative, laid back person. And yesterday at the print show, somebody came and asked me about MHM machinery.
Right.
It was on the MHM stand, looking at brothers. But anyway, it was on the MHM stand asking about machinery, and I was there, and I'm like, oh, let me jump straight in here. And I told him the story of how we made some screens in Denver, Colorado.
Yep.
With Danny at Denver Print House. We
Yeah.
made some screens there. We transported them all the way over to Los Angeles. We put them into a 5,000 machine. We did all the running on 3 days. We changed the designs 5 times a day. Everything was in perfect register. We had made no alterations whatsoever. I then took those same screens, transferred them all the way up to North Minnesota, put them into another different machine, completely different machine that we'd built from scratch. An S-type, little 8 colour. Threw the screens in, did a test print,
Perfect.
in perfect registration.
Outrageous.
And I told this story in my usual fashion. And he just went, oh, you're very passionate about it, aren't you?
Calm down.
I didn't realise I was passionate about it, but yeah, I am, because there isn't another press in this industry that can do that. You show me another press where that will happen. Absolutely does not happen at all. You cannot do it. Make the screens in one state, transport them to another state, then transport them to another state with a completely different press and have no registration issues. Throw them in the press and print without looking through the mesh.
I'm going to do it on a manual. It's my life goal. It's become a slight obsession. Because there's got to be a way of doing it. There has to be.
No, don't buy your acrylic sheet. I've got shitloads.
All right. Failed attempts.
I've even got the little pins.
Yeah. And I even had to look them up. I was like, what do you call them? Dowels. Dowels.
Yeah.
Fountain. Yeah, I don't know. Right, so here's a question for you, Tony. Did you happen to come across any Alabama space rockets on your journeys?
That sounds like a drug reference.
It does, doesn't it? Very sordid.
It was a prompt, yeah. So,
That was subtle, wasn't it?
never been to Alabama before. Didn't know anything about it whatsoever, except there's a lot of open space. And we're driving down the road, me and Big Dave, in Big Dave's truck, which is legendary. If it's not in that truck, you don't need it. End of story.
Massive.
Yeah, if we got the apocalypse hit, I'd be safe
David's
in Dave's truck.
Yeah.
and we'd still eat and drink for like another 6 months easily, two of us. And we'd be able to fix anything that came our way. We'd be able to turn it into Mad Max. So, driving around down the road, and there's farmland, real cotton growing at the side of the road.
Wow.
Just driving along, another cotton field.
Crazy.
One house on its own, nothing else around it. Great. Well, then a space rocket. I'm at Dave, and was that a rocket? Yeah, there's lots of rockets in Alabama. Dave's been known to have a dry sense of humour. I'm like, piss off.
Yeah.
There's no rockets in Alabama. So that's just a farmer that got bored and found himself with an old silo and some tubes and some drainage, and he's just painted NASA on the side of it and spelt it wrong. Nuzzer. No. We're driving down the road. There's another fucking rocket at the side of the road. What's going on? Apparently, Alabama is a huge centre for interstellar travel.
Really? That's not what comes to mind when you think of Alabama, I'll be honest.
No, it really isn't. But they build the rockets there. There's a space centre there. They have a really high percentage of exceptionally intelligent rocket scientists. So we say it's not rocket science, it actually is.
Where's NASA? Is it close?
I think Houston is a launch area, which is, if you go down and slightly across, you hit Houston on the coast. So Alabama has a coastline is shared with Houston.
Oh, so it's not too far away.
It's on that Gulf Coast, and then if you follow it around, you get to Florida, which is also a launch site. So actually, it's a big place for rocket scientists. We were driving down the road, and you see sort of like Grandpa and his tractor that he's had for the last 75 years, going past yards full of several Grandpa's trailers and tractors that they've never thrown away because Grandpa had that when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And then you'd get passed by somebody in a Corvette Stingray or whatever it is. You get passed by somebody in a Lamborghini and then in a kit car, and you're like, "There's a lot of money flying around here."
On the way to build rockets.
Yeah, rocket scientists. Something to do with 1950s post-war German rocket scientists.
Yeah.
Tended to go all be in one place, and now it's just grown into this rocket science place. Yeah,
I read up on this a little bit at one point. A lot of German engineers, because don't forget, this is crazy, isn't it? How the hell have we got onto Nazis? The Nazis.
You've gone to it.
For all that we
I'm just ready to press the off button. Because I've no idea where this tangent's going. And I love your tangents, but this one might be a little bit too far. Good one. But go for it anyway.
For the Nazis, for all the bad that we can say, were incredible engineers, and they were well ahead of their time in that aspect. And
I think,
as far as World War goes,
necessity is the mother of invention, I think, is the...
Right, something like that. But anyway, pre-war, obviously Germany had a lot of scientists and engineers that either came over to us. I mean, it was either this or be prison. It was either prison for war crimes, or come over to UK or America, and they worked for us. And there's quite a lot of German scientists, etc., that work for us now as a result of World War II. And there's something called the Tavistock Institute, and that is they pretty much poached them and gave them this lifeline: either work for us, or you off to prison, son.
Okay, I'll
it's trivia.
Accept your explanation. I can't pull you up on it. I don't know. So
it's something that I looked into quite a while back. So I'm sort of generalising.
In my head, all I can think of is the title for this week's episode. I have no idea where you're going to go for it, but it's forming in my head already.
You'll have to send me it. I struggle with that, I really struggle. It's not me.
I bumped into Craig.
Oh, I saw that. I was going to ask, is that Craig? Yeah. So that's my famous Craig.
Bumped into Craig, and I says to him, I said, "You've got an episode named after you." What?
Yeah.
I said, "Your episode, he's on the effing roof." Oh, up in Fargo, when I went up that scissor lift.
Yeah.
Them scissor lifts are great. You can drive them this way. And he went on then about
On
scissor
a
lifts. I'm
tangent
like,
about it.
you're awesome.
You should. So this live episode we've been talking about. You should have just got your phone out, man.
Oh God, yeah, should have done. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I need to do on my travels now. I'm going to do some little 10-minute slots of just this is so and so, this is so and so, this is so and so.
Yeah, and we'll put them up as shorts or whatever videos.
Definitely, yeah. Then maybe we can stop printing T-shirts for a living and start being YouTube stars.
Yeah, I won't do that. You can do that if you like.
Okay.
I'm looking at our list. It's looking a little bit.
I think we've done it.
I feel like we've had a
finally
good
got to end
episode,
of it.
haven't we? What are we
I
on
think
here?
so, yeah.
Hour 44. It's a
I think
good,
we've made it to end.
good, decent episode.
Let me have a look at my list, see if there's anything that just sort of jumps out. And see what happens when we make lists. I don't normally make a list.
No. It helps, doesn't it?
I do want to touch on squeegee blades.
Let's touch on squeegee blades before we round it off.
Before we round it off,
What do you think to rounding off the corners of your squeegee blades whilst we're talking of rounding off?
if you don't do it, I'll take you outside and shoot you.
If you don't do it,
If you don't do it, I'm going to take you outside and beat you with a wooden squeegee handle that has no rubber in it because it serves no purpose.
you see, I was with you, and then you start talking about beating me up with a wooden squeegee handle without blade in it. Now I'm confused.
Yeah,
So you were saying
you
it was a
remember we had
good
a
thing?
discussion about no. We did have a discussion about wooden handle squeegees and aluminium handle squeegees,
Yeah.
and which is best.
Yeah. We've had that one.
So the wooden one is no use. So because it's no
Right.
use, I would use it to bat you round the head
Right.
until you came to your senses.
I'm with you. I'm
Okay.
with you on that. But
Right, okay.
rounding off your corners of your squeegee blades, that's a
You
good thing.
have to do it. You have to do it.
Do you know what? I was putting some.
Why?
Well, I'll give you a real life example from last week. I broke down the emulsion
Crying.
and crying at least 3 times a week. I broke down the emulsion on a water-based screen, and it was the sharp corners. And that's where it was breaking down. It was almost wearing it away a little bit excessively compared to the rest of the image. And that's something I've thought about doing, just rounding it off with a grinder of some sort.
So
Or getting
you should
a sharpener.
always round off the edges of your squeegee, and for that exact reason.
Yeah.
So you're pulling 100 times a day, 600 times a day on one screen.
Yeah.
We've established your speed now. We've got where you are.
Yeah.
So a press will do that 3,000 to 4,000 times a day.
Right.
Now there's a chance that you will pull in the same place within about a 5mm tolerance,
Yeah.
because you got used to it. So the squeegee's going to go forwards and backwards down the same track, down the same path, within about a 5mm tolerance.
Yeah. I see what
The
you're saying.
press has 0 tolerance. It's running along a guided bar.
Yeah.
So that square point
That sharp
is
corner.
in exactly the same place every time, 3,000 times a day.
You're going to get a groove.
You're going to get a bust screen.
Yeah,
It's enough to actually bust and wear down the threads of the mesh.
Mm.
I famously went into a place where we constantly talk about them doing 900 pieces an hour or it fails, 1 million prints a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wanted me to justify why he paid me to go in. And I was only observing. And one of the first things I saw was a screen cart, full of broken screens. Just full, like 30, 40, 50 screens. And I'm like, that's a lot. And I asked the screen guy, I said, somebody's bust a lot of screens. Did you have an accident on press? He said, no, we do that about a week.
So they at
40
that point think it was
screens a
normal.
week. Never thought of it. So I lift the first screen up and it's got a hole in it where somebody's dropped a squeegee through it.
Fair enough.
Second screen, right where the squeegee runs, split.
Yeah.
Third screen, right where the squeegee runs on the other side, split. Fourth screen, somebody's dropped a squeegee through it. Fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 90% of the rack, exactly where the squeegee runs. So I walk over to the squeegees. Every single squeegee is sharp. Nobody's
sharp
taking
point.
the edge off any squeegee. So I said straight away, I know exactly where I'm going to pay for myself. And that is, if I can reduce your 50 screens to 5, then all of a sudden, at 20 quid a screen, I've paid for myself straight away.
Yep.
And all I'm going to do is, there are there are 3 distinct ways
I'm going
of
to encourage you
rubbing,
to buy a blade sharpener that I used to tell everybody to bin and cut my wire off.
No. Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
And Dave in Alabama
Oh, yeah.
called me a hillbilly for this trick.
Go on then. That sounds good.
And he's usually
It sounds promising.
He's always bullying me up and pulling me up and really talking me up all the time. But this time he absolutely ribbed the piss out of me.
So he thinks this is a bit old-fashioned.
But trust me, it works. So you take your squeegee, your brand new squeegee, you put it in, and you've got these sharp edges, which you know are going to wear down your screen.
Yeah.
So you then take the squeegee outside to the pavement, sidewalk.
No. Well,
On
it
the
works,
concrete.
I guess.
It is the best way of taking that edge off.
Right.
When it rounds it off. For $125, you can buy from Feemore a corner cutter, which is a stamp which cuts the corners off for you.
Yeah.
Or you can use the squeegee sharpener that's in the corner that Tony says don't use, and you can use that.
Yeah.
Or you can use some really rough sandpaper.
Or just get a grinding wheel. Can you not just use a grinding wheel?
Grinding wheel so fast it generates heat. That heat tends to melt the squeegee.
Ah, right, I see. Let me go grab a squeegee. Oh,
Better be a clean one.
how dare you?
Better not be a wood one.
How
if it's
dare
a wood
you?
One. You brought me a wood one.
No, I haven't. I hate to do this. It's very nasty of me, but got a bone to pick with. Got a bone to pick. They've just followed us on Instagram, so.
So the main guy there picked me out and hey, I'm Tony, hiya. And I so wanted to go get a selfie with him.
Yeah, just going like that.
But bless him, Alan won't have a clue what I were doing, so I left him alone. I left him alone.
I think he's oblivious to this podcast because I've had stuff. Obviously, talked to him on phone, and I've talked to one of them on phone, and whether he knows about, well, he obviously does. He just followed us, but previously,
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know. There's somebody else that does the social media, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not impressed with these, and you know why? Because of the screw here, so it's not close enough to the end, and the blade's starting to do this.
Oh, yeah.
That irritates me. So I've got to get some new blade holders. That was nasty, mate. I was a bit bitchy about just calling them out.
It's only because you remember when I were walking around SPSI and you saw me pick up that sort of like 2 meter long squeegee.
Yeah.
So that comes as that. So where they cut.
It's glued, isn't it?
No, but that one that you've got comes exactly the same. A massive extrusion. It starts.
Oh, right. So I see. Yeah.
So wherever they chop saw,
it just happens to be. Yeah.
It's just
because they are all different.
Dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the gap between the screws? About 10 centimeters.
Well, it's different, isn't it? So that one's not too bad.
No.
Oh, right,
the
sorry.
Gap between the screws.
It's about that much.
Yeah. So basically, you've just dropped on unlucky.
Yeah, you're right.
On the 18 inches, and they're not looked at it.
Well, let's just call this not a slagging off. Let's call this constructive criticism. Maybe
a word of advice.
Maybe try make it a bit more equal because it causes issues. But it's not end of world. I'll just have to get some new blade orders. But otherwise, yeah.
Is it threaded?
Yeah. As in, like.
Or is it bolted?
Bolts.
Is there a screw on one side and a bolt on the other?
Yeah. It's like it's like a flat.
Do it yourself.
And that's a positive. I could just drill through it, I guess, couldn't I?
Yeah, drill that and pull it up. Yeah.
Actually, I tell you what, one thing I will.
Whinging.
Well, one thing I will whinge about, and I'll stand by this till the day I die. And this applies to the Ergo squeegee. Every metal squeegee I've ever earned
has had caps on.
Ever owned.
Has had caps on the end?
No, the screws are crap. They're like Play-Doh. They're round off. They're utter rubbish. Stop using cheap shit bolts and screws on squeegees. They get so much chemical abuse and water. They're going to last. You basically tighten it up once, and then you might as well go buy a new squeegee. I'm not having it anymore.
Which is what they want you to do.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Plus caps. I like the caps on the end so you don't get ink.
I chucked them all in bin.
Outside. Did you?
Yeah, I'd thought a bit. Maybe that was a bad thing to do. I thought it was a bit finicky. Because we sort of come out and stuff. It's thought, sod this.
Okay. Bit of Gorilla Glue. Solves everything.
Yeah, it does, I guess, yeah. So actually, that's funnily enough, as a slight tangent before we sign off, I put a story up. I was browsing through Instagram and I noticed a customer had one of my t-shirts on that I'd printed like 12 months ago, I think it was. it looked as good as new. Good as new.
Yeah.
And this customer worked in they have a mobile burger van place, a bit more posh than the way I just
So they're
described
going
it.
to be going through the wash cycle a lot.
Through the wash, high temperature washes, shitloads of abuse and grease and constant pressure. And anyway, they'd stood up to the test of time, and I thought, this is
Good for
fantastic. I showed it off on Instagram, but also in a way, isn't it a bad thing? Because now they're not going to come back for more.
It's the rechargeable batteries thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Companies don't sell rechargeable batteries because they can only sell them once.
Yeah.
But they do sell batteries that run out every 3 months, so they can keep getting that resale.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I'm only joking. Make them last, and I'm sure they'll come back to us one day.
Yeah.
Right, how are you feeling? Is it time to say goodbye?
I think we've pretty much had a good episode. We've done foreign food, rockets, Nazis. And
We have, haven't we?
I'm thinking of titles for you now.
Foreign
Rockets
food,
and
Nazis.
Hush puppies, rockets, and Nazis. There's your title.
That's one of the hardest things, So I'll edit it, and then I'll export it and upload it, etc. And then usually it does it overnight, and then I wake up in the morning and I'll get my laptop out and I think, right, what did we talk about in this episode? And we'd talked about having short-term memory, and I just forget. So I have to sort of like skim through every 2 minutes and try and just pick what we talked about at the time and write some sort of list. It's hard, that bit.
The reason you brought a squeegee blade over, wasn't the corners.
Oh no, it wasn't. No, I was just going to slag them. I just wanted to offer some constructive criticism. But the corners. So
the corners are important.
I'm going to do that.
Wearing, but also, what's even more important is that little bit of green rubber. Okay, it's a consumable part.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot we talked about that. One.
This is why
I was signing off.
I keep bringing you back. The rubber is a consumable part. The reason it's got screws and bolts in is so you can change out the rubber and put a new rubber in. The importance of squeegee blades I'm going to go as far as my last 12 months of visiting different shops is what I do. I go into shops and I try to make things better, make life easier for the operators. And most of the time I'm struggling because of either one or two things. They either have a lack of selection of mesh, and they don't understand the difference in mesh. A lot of shops I go into have two selections. Just two.
Just two, really? Wow.
Just two, yeah. And there are I can count 7 that you need at least. And blades, they either don't comprehend, don't understand, have never been told the importance of blade selection. Choosing the right blade for the job is key to maintaining a clean, crisp print that does not pick off printing wet on wet.
Yeah.
If you want to do multicolour wet on wet printing, the one single most important thing you must have is new, sharp blades of differing selection of hardness.
Yeah.
Even if you forget all the solids and you only buy composite, you must have a soft, a medium, a hard.
Yeah.
This choice is dictated by where the colour order is and how much ink you want to pull through those holes.
Yep.
And that simple fact that you say yes to is lost on lots and lots of shops. Squeegee blades now. I'm getting to the point now where if I go into a new shop, what would be the most important thing that I put in my bag would be a roll of new squeegee rubber.
Wow.
And it's
people
happened now every single shop. They don't see it as important.
I find that surprising.
The owner doesn't care. The owner doesn't care. The operator doesn't know. And the reason for the bad print is always seen as your lack of skill. You're shit because this print's shit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you brought in a nextpert from somewhere and said to them, well, you get a good print out of this, they wouldn't be able to do it either. Because low tension screens, wrong mesh selection, crappy blades that have been cut from old flip-flops with your granddad's teeth. Stop it.
Plus,
it's $10 for a new one. It's about £10 for a new piece of rubber. Swap it out.
And they're cranking up the old M&Rs and they're using that part of blade because they're squashing it that much and they're just buttering it on anyway. So,
And I steal the tip that you told me that you stole from someone else.
oh yeah. This one?
Yeah, that one.
I wonder if you
It
can
is
get
the
ASMR.
single. It's
I don't know if it's picking it up. It picked
almost,
up my belly
yeah.
rumble earlier, so
we,
it might be.
we got most of your bodily functions, but we didn't get that. And that tip comes from another podcaster.
Yeah, I nicked that one off Shirt Show, I think.
It came off Shirt Show, and it's one of the single best pieces of advice I've found so far.
It's great.
Is you take the blade. You can do it, Danny. Take the blade.
Run your thumb, and if you can
Or your
feel
finger.
that edge, if you can feel the
Pattern.
pattern that the police use to identify you when you've murdered somebody, if you can feel that pattern,
The blood spatter pattern.
the blood spatter pattern, then you know it's nice and sharp. If you
If you
can't
can feel the
ridges,
ridges of your fingerprint, the ridges of your fingerprint is what we're looking for. If you run your edges of your fingerprint against a sharp blade knife, you'll feel the ridges.
that's right.
If you take that same finger and rub it against a dull spoon, you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
And most people are printing with dull spoons. Stop it. Get a grip.
Yeah.
Ran over.
Yeah, I think maybe just make it an habit to every 3. I mean, if you're an auto shop, every 3 months, swap out your blades, or if you're manual, I guess maybe every 6 months or whatever. But
I'd say check them every 6 months.
but isn't it better? But it's always better to print on a fresh blade. So even if you can get away with it, let's say you get to end of 6 months and it's not too bad, just chuck some new blade in anyway. Your prints will be better for it. I can feel. This is why it surprises me, because I can feel it. I can see the results of a dull blade on a manual, and I can feel it when I'm printing. So I want to.
Getting constant tactile feedback.
I'm getting feedback. I see. This is probably where
But
I
on
know.
press, you don't see it.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't
That
see
makes sense.
Yeah.
So then that reaffirms my suggestion of just regulating,
anyway.
just changing them on a schedule.
Regularly.
Regulating.
Struggling with them R's, aren't you?
I've got a lisp. Oh God.
Right,
So
I think
bye.
Bye. See you later. Bye. We have come to the end of this long episode. So we're only in a couple of hours, but I think a couple of hours is good for us.
It's about
considering all the crap we had to talk about. As ever, thank you everybody for listening. We keep seeing the numbers go up. It does make us feel all warm and fluffy inside. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of interaction of subscribing, liking, following, commenting. Even if your comment says, "You're crap," it's fine. It's a comment. The algorithm reads it. Screw you. So, like, follow, subscribe on the usual channels, which are
YouTube,
the 2.
Spotify.
YouTube and Spotify. We stick to YouTube and Spotify because it's damned easier. We still encourage people to go back to and re-listen to some of these because there might be some little nuggets that you've missed.
Yeah.
I do still speak to people. I spoke to somebody yesterday who said he's on episode 7. I went, "Oh, where will you get to 8? There's a video."
Yeah.
So
we always recommend you avoid 3 though. 3, give that one a miss because the audio.
I'm stood in a container. And Danny's on drugs. So, yeah, there's just no point whatsoever of listening to number 3. But tune in for next week where we will pretty much do the very similar sort of thing. We'll make some lists during the week, giving us something to talk about.
Some topics.
That's been the difference this week. We've actually done a bit of preparation.
Yeah.
And we will be trying some different things on here to spruce it up a little bit, maybe bringing some more content from other places.
We've got some ideas.
We've got some ideas.
I'm actually working on something right now.
Well, right now, look.
I mean, I think I told you about it at the start of the episode, so it's not much of a secret. But
you teased us quite well on your Instagram, so we'll leave it at that. Yeah. And again, all that remains is thank you very much. We will sign off with the usual, which I'm going to make into a badge or a T-shirt or something, which is I'll civvy.
I'll civvy all next week. Episode 36. Goodbye. God bless.
It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.